Hey everyone, I'm Danny with HRT, and today we're here with Brad from LLI Innovations, and we want to talk about the new MH1 housing. So Brad, care to introduce yourself?
Yeah, I'm Brad. I work with LLI Innovations. I do design work for these guys, and I designed the new MH1. Kind of a night vision geek, so it's very cool to actually come out with my own housing for once.
Very cool. So we've talked a little bit about this before, and I've checked out some of your guys' specs and stuff. I did get to see this at SHOT Show, and I'm really excited to hear you share some of the design side of it, but also some of the features. So let's do a brief rundown of what some of the features here, what makes it different, and what some of the things that you really worked hard to incorporate into this mount.
Yeah, absolutely. So this night vision device, the MH1, is entirely made out of a magnesium alloy. All the parts of this that aren't made of magnesium are made of titanium 7075. I think the only steel we have are the two little grub screws that hold the knobs on. Magnesium is somewhere around 40% lighter than aluminum, which makes this quite lightweight while retaining sort of the same strength you'd expect from a metal housing. The other thing that we focused on here, other than the cool alloys, was the modularity. A lot of night vision companies will say that their units are modular, and what they really mean is that the pods come off and you can turn them into binoculars, which is cool, and we do that too. But every single part of this device, every single feature on this is completely removable, can be changed out, and we have accessories in place so that you can change it exactly how you want it. You can go all the way from monocular to a million different configurations with the MH1.
Very cool. I've enjoyed looking at some of the different, you can change out the switch pattern. You can remove manual gain or have in manual gain. You can change out your battery system as well. Do you mind showing some of that so we can see those cool features?
I can go piece by piece here.
Let's do it.
Yeah, so the mount comes off. It's just 4 screws to take off the mount. And we have several different mounts. We obviously have the dovetail. We have an extended dovetail that's coming out that puts it farther backwards. We're going to have ball detent. We're going to have bayonet mount, which is not the coolest thing in the world, but I just know that there's someone out there who owns a Rhino mount who is going to jump for joy when they see that. The battery compartment on the bottom, that comes off. It's 4 screws and a plug, just a simple little connector. And you have CR123A here. We're obviously also going to have AA, AAA, Fisher port, LEMO port. We're also working on combinations of ports and batteries at the same time, and they are correctly electrically engineered. I'm sure that everyone remembers some older night vision housings when you plug the port in, they would fight the battery. It's isolated on our unit, so it's not going to do that, so you can run both at the same time. The front controls on this thing are modular as well. You take these 4 screws out, the entire front comes off, unplug a plug. So obviously this one has manual gain and dual IR illuminators. If you only wanted one IR illuminator, if you wanted different IR illuminators, if you didn't want manual gain, if you want to do any controls or IR illuminator changes whatsoever, you can replace this part right here, completely change it up, change it around. The arms here are modular as well. We are working with noise fighters to do panning arms for the MH1. That's coming out quite soon, actually. The pods are modular. You can change these out. We have ANBUS lens. We have 15 lens versions in the works. The plug-in manual gain is also changeable as well. There's a board inside of here. This has direct plug-in manual gain. You don't need to solder anything or use an adapter. The pigtail from an image intensifier plugs directly into the unit. And if you're using a Photonis tube that has 3-pad, or you're using an L3 tube that has 3-pad with one of those adapters, we make 3-pad manual gain. That's already out, by the way. So you can change every single aspect of this device, including a bunch that I'm probably forgetting at this point. But it is completely modular to your needs, your specifications, whatever setup you want. You can change this out and make it be that way. You don't need to buy a completely new device or in an ecosystem with this as well.
That's awesome. I don't know if it's easy to see on camera or not, but as you're turning this around, I'm seeing different angles of it. Not only do the lines look good, you guys did a good job designing the way that it aesthetically looks, but getting to the screws is actually possible. I know that a lot of times, sometimes the smaller screws to remove things you can't get to, and you guys have either done cutouts or you've changed dimensions in a way where you can actually get to all those pieces that are important.
Yeah.
That's kind of speaks to the intricacy of the design that's going on here.
We tried our best to make it that easy. We have a lot of experience in assembling things. We're a smaller company. We assemble everything ourselves. We don't have a team of 50 people. So we know how difficult it is to put some devices together. And we specifically made this to be as simple and easy as possible for everyone.
So if you were to pick up one of these and you hopped on the website and you just ordered the basic version, what does the basic version look like?
So the basic version currently is a dovetail mount. It has a CR123. It's PBS 14 optics, manual gain compatible, dual IR illuminators. And that's like $19.99 for the housing, I think. So that gives you sort of like the standard fully featured housing that everybody sort of understands.
Right.
And then as we get more accessories, we're going to have different configurations available as assembled units as well.
Okay. That's a lot for the value that you're getting, but also like the dual IR, the manual gain. Like I like manual gain. My tubes don't have them, and sometimes I wish I had it. I'm sure people have differing opinions on that, but I like that the way you don't have to worry about what you're getting because you already come with all those pieces.
The important thing for me is even if I don't like manual gain, I know that there's a lot of people out there that like it, and that's sort of the design ethos with the whole thing is what do the customers want, and I'm going to put it in there for them. And it's an option that they can have. Super easy.
Cool. What were some challenges that you ran into while trying to set all this together and make it?
It is extremely difficult to make a device with many parts. We did a lot of prototyping. There was some stuff originally. I'm sure everyone's seen the Instagram post from months and months ago where we had the wires that went to the pods. That worked all right. It just was intensive and tedious to assemble those, and so we didn't want to do that. That's when we came up with our contact system. We used to use micro switches for our off one up cutoff, and then when we went to this contact system, we didn't need that anymore. There's small incremental changes here and there as well, but it's been a fairly simple prototyping cycle. There's some other minor things. When we had our 3-piece pods, those were really cool because you could just take the front lens off and change them out. But we ran into precision problems with that, where if we were to make it precise enough to work properly every single time, the cost of the unit would have gone up dramatically, and we did not want to do that. We didn't want consumers to be paying like $3,000 for this thing when just going with a single piece pod, keeps the cost down basically.
Right. And it's obviously hard to see on camera, but the weight-wise, you talked about having still a metal housing, so that durability, but having it lightweight, it really is an impressive weight for having all of this attached to it. The dual IR, the entire battery box hanging off there,
I believe
you've done good.
This one specifically, I believe this is at like 15.8 ounces. It's pretty lightweight. That's with tubes and battery. You can go lower than that depending on your exact configuration of the unit. But once again, since it's so modular, it just depends on how you want to build it, the weight.
Right. And you can, like you said, if you want to pull one of the tubes off and let someone else use it, you can still get away with all that without having to do any funkiness. I mean, it's, as we saw, a couple screws.
Yeah.
Which is a great feature.
So on the back here, this is I've been reading some forum posts and people have a misconception about how you take these off. It's not just one screw holding this on. When you take one of these screws out, this joint comes out, and then you can push this joint back, and then the pod comes out. The pod is held on by about 8 millimeters of titanium, not just by a single screw. And when you take the pod out, you actually don't lose any purge on the pod. And we have 2 different monocular adapters that can clip onto it, essentially.
Oh, okay.
And turn it into 2 different kinds of monoculars. If you want to run the bridge as a monocular without one side, it works just fine. It's not picky. So, hey, if you want to do monoculars, this is one of the better systems to do that with. It's pretty fast to do that, pulling the pod off. You don't lose any purge. I mean, and we've got options as far as how you can run a monocular.
Right. Awesome. Anything else you think the folks should know about MH1?
It's really cool.
Yep.
We've got some really nice IR illuminators on here. If you haven't played with an MH1, you really should try the IR illuminators. When we started prototyping those, I was actually very surprised at how well they work. Another interesting thing about this is that you can actually adjust the hinge tension on here. So if you want to go a completely loose tension or a locked tension on the MH1, you can change that around exactly how you want it.
That's awesome. And then if you were to rotate those up and out of the way, they would turn off, right?
Yeah. We have mechanical off and off because of our pin system. And those pins, I know fragility is always a concern, but we've tested our printed circuit board on the front to like 10,000 cycles, I believe, and that held up. And the pins on here, when we assemble this unit, we press those pins in with like 150 pounds of force, and they're fine. So I really don't think that you're ever going to have any problems with that pin system.
Sure. Just looking at like the size of it, I mean, it's almost the same size as a military issued PVS 14.
Yeah.
But you're adding all those extra features.
Yeah. One of the best ways to reduce weight on anything is to make it smaller. So I kind of went for the minimum design size here to try and reduce the weight as much as possible. And when you're doing a smaller part, you can see on the back here how thick this thing is. You can get away with thicker materials. You can get away with stiffer sort of designs, and you can get away with something that's stronger. If I made this thing huge, obviously it wouldn't be as strong.
So very cool. Just the dimensions and the weight and all the features you've packed in here is really impressive. What about panel options?
So we've got two separate options that we're working on right now. Obviously, everybody knows that we're working on the panning arms for this. We're working directly with Noise Spiders for that under their patent. And those are coming out in a couple months. They're high on our design priority list just because they're quite easy and, everybody wants them. We're also working on quad pods for this device. It's going to take a little bit longer. We're working with a US-based optics manufacturing company to get our lenses designed. And the heart of any quad system is, of course, the eyepiece lenses. And we want to make sure that that is totally right and perfect before we release anything at all. So we want to make sure that it's the highest quality product before we have people paying lots and lots and lots of money for it. And we want to make sure that it's done before we start giving people release dates on anything like that.
Yeah.
I don't want to drop the ball on a release date. So for the panning arms, I'm thinking maybe July, August. Those are going to be on the market in the dealer's hands. For the quad nods, probably the beginning of next year, if everything goes all right.
So maybe a SHOT Show.
Maybe.
Check out.
We could probably have a prototype by SHOT.
Okay. All right. Don't hold them to it, but
I'm not going to picky promise.
well, thanks for showing these off. We really appreciate it. They look great. We've really enjoyed messing with them here.
Thank you.
Where should folks check out buying these, but also getting some information?
So our website, Low Innovations, we're not selling the MH1 itself. We have multiple master distributors, and we have a list of those both on our site, on our Instagram, on all of our social media. And you can go talk to them and see who has them in stock, who has what configurations, who offers what tubes, lenses, bare housing options. Having master distributors like that helps us out because it reduces our overhead. It helps them out because you have more people shipping, more different companies with different options in different locations as well. And I'm sure that they're also selling it to multiple other dealers. So you can probably pick it up from a lot of different locations, actually.
Awesome. Well, hey, appreciate you being here and showing us off. Thank you for your time. Check them out at their website. And if you got any questions for us, shoot us an email off our website. And thanks for watching the video.
Thank you.